Okay, long time coming. This has been something I've thought about doing. I don't know when they came out with this exhaust, but this is American Racing Headers full exhaust. So it's headers, so dual headers, all the way back to the exit, right? So they did the full system, which is mufflers, resonators. It's catless. But the full headers. I don't know how much power the headers actually make for us, but it's their system. And so I'm looking for meaty, no hollow bull crap. I'm looking to make this car sound like it should, and right now is hollow and wussy with this stupid Acura exhaust. So that's coming off. If I wasn't so cheap, I'd go punt it in the woods. We got to sell that thing. So if you want that Acura exhaust, let me know. But Eb is here, and he's. What's your background from a BMW perspective? Just a super enthusiast, or?
Yeah, that's how it all started out. Actually, it started out with Hondas back in the day,
Okay.
and then kind of just worked my way into there, and kind of did away with that, and got my first E36 many years ago, and made that into my designated track car. And from there, I've just been wrenching on it and learning, and then I was able to get my hands on an E46 M3. So started tweaking on that, and one thing led to another. I just started kind of working on them, and I don't want to say I know them inside and out, but I know a lot.
But you have an expertise around these cars, and so you're friends with Mike Waba, our cinematographer, and so I'm like, I don't want to do this. Waba's like, we could convince Eb to do it. I said, sold. So I could probably pull this off in a week, but these, you're more of a real man than me, and so you can say whatever you want. You can say I'm a sellout. You can say that I'm a wussy. I am. I did the headers on me and Tony and a couple of other buddies did headers live at Titan and Titan's open house on my GT350, and I vowed I would never do that again. So somehow Mike Waba convinced you to come and do this for us.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm going to be floating in and out today. We're working on the yarn building, but Mike's going to capture all this, and this will probably be the first install video. I haven't found any install videos on these headers anywhere.
Okay.
So this will probably certainly be the best captured and produced video on these headers, and then we'll make follow-ups, flyby videos and stuff like that. So Eb's going to jump in. I got to go jump on a call, and I'll be back, and he's going to take you through how to take this thing apart. And then everybody's telling me I'm gonna have to raise the car up a little bit, but we'll see. I'm gonna try to ride low. So let's get into it.
All right. So first, just gonna go remove all the under trays underneath, get as much access as possible, and kind of take a bigger picture underneath to see what all needs to be done. So. So what I've been looking at is picking up the points or the bolts for the rear subframe. So you have one up front here, and these are inverted torques, and then most likely one under here. Actually, it's right here. So the plan is, just taking a look underneath, but dropping it just a tad bit. I'll take one of the bolts out and see how long it is and see how much leeway I have. And then right now what I'm going to end up doing is removing the whole exhaust. Again, just going through trying to figure out what would be the easiest way to do it. So there will be some cases where it may not work out, but that's what we're here for. So I'm going to start removing the exhaust. All my O2 sensor plugs are right here. So I'm going to take the belly pan out as well. And what we'll do is I'll drop with the O2 sensors, and we could just swap out the O2 sensors once you get to the new one. Sometimes it's just best taking anything you can off that's easy to get to. It makes the job a little bit more easier when you're in it. But it is next to the headers, so it's got a shield for it. Look at that. I hope I remember where all these go. Okay. So the exhaust one, it just slides out, but you got that little heat shield, little cover for it. So you got to take that off, and you got to do the same thing with the other side. No shield on that one. Yeah. I'm more thinking it's for the rear section, but we'll see. So we got that one. All right. Put that back in place that way. All right, let's start dropping this header down, or exhaust. So I got the pretty much from the rear all the way up to the headers already loose. I got my my pole jack stand in place, so that way this exhaust doesn't fall on me. Again, O2s are all disconnected, O2 sensors. So here we go. This is where you technically need two people. So I got Mike up front helping me, and then I get the heavy section in the back. So, well, you got the light end. I got the heavy end.
This exhaust usually isn't that way.
All right. Because it's dirty, you got to take at least 20% off.
$20.
All right, so now I'm going to attempt. Again, I'm trying to do this as is anybody that's in a garage trying to do it. So I'm going to attempt to try to take the heat shields off, just like how it is. And if by any chance it doesn't pan out, then I will jump to the to lower the subframe. But that is the plan that we're going to try. We're going to have to execute. So, but let's see what we can end up doing without it. So, all right. So I'll get to those. I know we're going to have to drop the subframe. So, but not everybody has one of those tools.
So I think the heat shield bolts we can get from top. Is what you're thinking.
Yeah, I got one on each here on the lower I could get, and then we'll have to go to the top and get the other ones. Dude, you don't need a long bolt for a heat shield like this. Jesus.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, I'm going off on a tangent already, and it's only 30 minutes in. I got 2 bolts out. 30 minutes each bolt. No, just kidding. But it felt like 30 minutes each bolt. All right, now that the only bolts that are down here for the heat shield, so now we got to lower the car and go to the top to do the bolts on that heat shield. Once we get those off, start messing with the header bolts and see if it can be done with the subframe attached. If not, we'll lower it. So stay tuned. Okay, so now we're up top. I'm gonna go ahead and just start on this side, which is on the passenger side. And I'm gonna leave this for the last, just to see how the first one goes, because no matter what, we will have to remove the intake, especially to access the heat shields. So let me get my skinny hands in there in a wrench, and fingers crossed. Yeah, I can't get to it with this thing. It's ridiculous, dude. Damn you, Matt. I guess I didn't have to take it. Dude, I just can't move it.
You just need to get some light in there. Yep, there's a bolt sticking out.
All right. Okay, it is part of the heat shield. Okay. I started thinking about it, like, if this bolt is not part of the heat shield,
you're wasting your time.
yeah.
That's why I was telling you, suggested you really need to put a thermal wrap them, because all that heat. I said, I don't really. If I was on the track, you know this car is.
Yeah, if it's street driven.
Yeah, this car is just putting around town. Yeah. Actually, I can't make it to Publix, but Home Depot sometimes. Publix is my next conquest.
Success. Right now, 2. Got to find the other one, which I do need that thing again.
Dang, this thing's clean. I guess it's only been on there for a few miles.
So I got part of it off then. It fell. Holy crud. So it's a 2-piece heat shield. So, well, let me see here. Let me make sure. I think it's okay, so I was mistaken. The 3rd bolt back in the back, it's a 10 mil, but it's a 2-piece heat shield. So I got 3 of the bolts off, or 2 on top, and part of it fell down. So I'm gonna leave it like that and see if I can get to everything else. And now I'm gonna start taking the intake off for the other side. I like this one. There's a little bit more room on this side once you got the airbox off. So,
Ooh, this side has a lot more space, huh?
yeah, I'm excited.
This is like the one thing I never thought I'd do would be headers on a E92.
This is just too amazing. I should have done this one first,
Amazing.
but then I would have been spoiled on this side. Do you prefer the E90 over the E46 M3?
I've never had an E46. I've never even driven one.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna drive mine once we get that intake.
Yeah. But I want one.
Because
I've always wanted one.
so what do you? Because I've had the E36 M3. I've had an E46 M3. I've never had one of these. I've actually gotten to drive one of these at the Nürburgring on our track day, and I tell you what, man, the body lines of the E46 M3. They're just stunning. I think it's more of a, as a European muscle car, it just has those lines. Uh-oh, what's going on here?
I mean, this is my car. I love this one. This is my first, really nice car. Not this exact one, but I had a 2000 in 2010.
Okay.
I got, this, basically the same exact car. I traded it for my first 911.
Still good
And
choice.
then I bought it back again. So, we just got the E36, the purple one, and I'm in search for an E46. I had an F80. I hated that.
I guess it's that old school mentality. I'm getting old and I'm looking at the older, not old. I'll take that back. And you think about those cars that you were, as you said at your other videos, just cars that you've seen before. And
So I
always
almost
wanted.
bought or almost tried to get a loan on an E46 several times. I was 23. And 23 to 26 roughly when I wanted one. So it just wasn't there yet. Too much. And so I never got one. We're good. We got a stated value of $55,000 insured.
For the E36.
Still not enough, but
Yeah.
we're going to be 125 into that thing. Maybe more.
So that's half of it or the whole thing?
half of it. Yeah.
This might be the worst part of it.
Yeah, I think I could get this side to get to the header bolts.
Yeah.
That's easy. This side, it's a little bit more difficult.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's a 10. I don't know how am I going to get that out.
Hooks under the steering shaft, I see.
Yeah.
There's
No,
no
yeah, I got it.
hooks around it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just the steering shaft itself. I have to take the steering shaft out. Just disconnect it. All right, so that whole side is done. Well, for the most part, but dude, there's just no way I could get to these bolts over here on this one. It's a serious job when you got to pull that thing out.
Like, what am I looking at with my hands?
Look to my hand.
I don't have eyes on my hands.
That was the ticket.
Yeah, it was. Damn. Oh, dude, is that another 10? Well, I just found another 10. Unless that's the one I was just working on. So, it took me a while to realize I could remove this, and it definitely gave me a lot more room for my arm to get in there to get the two 10mm bolts all the way in the back. So, I lost track on how many bolts it actually takes to take the heat shields off, but there's definitely at least 6 bolts total per side. Driver's side was much more easier to get to. So everything up here is done. So now it's just a matter of loosening the headers and seeing if we could slide them out. So let's keep knocking them out. This are 2 per. Thank goodness it's not like the E46. 4 per.
4 per
Yeah.
head.
I'm gonna start on that side over there. I'm gonna give myself a little bit of a.
Motivation.
Yeah, there you go. Because remember, we only need the subframe. We only need the subframe dropped just to gain clearance to drop the headers.
Get 'em out.
Yeah, so technically, dropping the subframe a little bit, it's not gonna access the bolts anymore. Actually, it'll make it tougher,
Through it, yeah.
because the engine and everything. Well, the engine will stay steady, but
That makes
it
sense.
just makes it a little bit more. Yeah.
So that's technically the hard part. The heat
Hard
shield
part?
bolts.
Which one?
Is that the heat shield bolts?
Yes.
Technically the hard.
I mean, dude. I mean,
Well, shoot, you're not even hours in.
That's because it's Eb.
And that's
Yeah.
good. That's
I'm telling you, if
crying inside. Crying inside.
yeah.
Make sure that's what that is.
Ooh, they'll be yelling at you on camera, setting the socket on the. Can't do that. We do that. I have tools all lined up all over.
Oh yeah, yeah. You didn't see that, Matt. I just bent it.
I like that. I like bending stuff.
Especially when we're not going to reuse it.
You know. It's so funny. Like we make these videos all the time, and oftentimes I go to shops and stuff like that, and then people will get mad in the videos when the tech is like you have to manhandle some stuff sometimes,
Yeah.
and they assume that at a BMW shop that it's like precise. And no, you got to bend stuff out of the way. You're
Yeah.
hammering on stuff, and then they get even more mad at me when I'm doing the same thing. I'm like, this is the way it goes. When
Yeah.
you're working on stuff, especially when you're doing aftermarket stuff. Sometimes you got to get a little attitude adjuster out and make it happen.
Exactly. You got to persuade some parts to give you a little extra room.
Yeah. But they're gonna get so mad that I'm not doing this for myself.
You're here in spirit.
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah, I'm here
Or
watching.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm doing what I do best: answering emails, making Facebook posts, selling stuff on Instagram.
Did you sell it? Did you get it already?
Not yet, but it'll sell. I had 4 or 5 people that messaged me about it. I don't like to keep track. I'm like, you just got to catch it at the right time. Like, make sure you let me know as soon as it's for sale. I'm like, I want to wake up in the morning and post it. I don't want to be thinking about who I'm selling it to. Although maybe those guys don't want it anymore. They told me I'm talking trash about this Acura the whole time. I mean, it's not a bad. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful piece of engineering, but it's very, very tame. So you buy it because you want to drop 20 pounds off the car, which does not really matter. And you buy it if you know it's going to fit. We don't know how this is going to fit. This is some big fat American bro, put this in a jig and welded it up. So we'll see how this goes. But these guys have made 1 trillion exhausts, these for Corvettes. I'm excited to like this car again, to be excited to drive it. Because I've been fighting with exhausts for a while. The Dynan setup is pretty decent, but I think it still can be better. And banking on the fact that these guys know what sounds good, and they're trying to make this sound like a Corvette, which I'm down. It's because you still have, the induction noise is so loud on this that you can, you're not going to overtake that. And so I'm looking for that combo. The best exhaust I ever had was a custom-made, I forget what it was, but it had brain-exploding drone. It was like in,
the Eisenman drones a lot.
yeah.
Eisenman range.
Worst case scenario, well, we're making this worst case scenario even worse. That if this doesn't sound good, I can say I can go back to the Dynan stuff, but it's not that simple.
Now it's time to lower the rear subframe or the front subframe. So I'm going to go ahead and get my brace up and start loosening some bolts in here. It's super tight. I'm starting to lose a lot of skin here. So
Does the, do you need another pole jack? Do you need pole jacks, or you just do the brace?
I just do the brace and just lower the, take one bolt out just to see the length of it and see how far I could go down.
Do these have subframe alignment, or are they just?
No, they have they have like dowel pins.
Got it.
So usually
only
it's
one way for it to go.
one on each side. Yeah. So yeah, it won't mess with the alignment.
There. That's pretty darn nifty. See, you can get all the real man work done on a scissor lift. I think.
Yeah.
I think scissor lift is the way to go.
I already rocked my head on that thing 3-4 times already.
Yeah, some
But-
giant poles on the frickin' side of the car. You can't open your door. It's the dumbest design ever.
That is.
Can't do anything other than work underneath the car. It'll be your personal tool shopping assistant.
This is awesome. Newly on my. So it.
Jeez,
With the
man.
extension.
You need to step
You
it
got a
up.
breaker bar?
Yeah, or you can go to this one. I got all the stages. That one.
Impact. So breaker bar. Might have to lower it for me. Too short. All right, so looking at the bolt, I'll probably be able to drop about 1/2 inch to maybe max 3/4. So luckily with all of them, I should hold it up if there's at least five threads on there. So. Woo. Matt, I'm gonna probably need your muscles there, buddy.
Yeah, no. Here's a longer one. $30.
I want to get the steering shaft loose. I don't know how much it's going to telescope out. Sweet. So what I'm doing is I'm taking the bolts out and tightening them by hand and just going up about, I want to say 3/8 of an inch in. That way I know I have at least 5 to 6 threads that'll hold the subframe. Remember, it's only going to be the subframe. The only items that are going to be attached to the subframe is going to be the steering rack and a couple little odds and ends, some hose clamps. So it's not heavy, especially that it's made out of aluminum. So part of the suspension parts as well. Oh, look at that. She's already giving me some room.
Is it dropping? Yeah.
A little bit more room. I mean, I could technically drop it down even further if I need be.
So there's still one bolt on the back side of the header.
Oh, I still got this whole side, the whole bolts to do to this one. The driver's side, I have 5 nuts out of the 8.
Oh, yeah, I see.
I'm thinking about just dropping the whole thing, like completely dropping it. So going through, looking at a handful of stuff, I'm just going to drop it down even further. Trying to do it like 4 inches lower. Didn't give me the clearance I needed. Plus, just getting to the other header bolts are, it's a pain. So we're gonna drop it, let it hang. I've already got the steering rack disconnected, the leveling sensor disconnected as well. And yeah, so hopefully we'll just drop it down enough to where that should give me plenty of room. So.
That subframe is pretty darn light, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, other cars you'd be like, oh yeah, you got all the room in the world now. Look at that.
There you go.
You put your whole body up in there.
We are almost to go. Let me see if I can get this sucker lower some more.
Hey, your contractors are here.
Okay.
I guess I didn't have to do the rack. So we're probably gonna, well, since we don't put the heat shields back on, that would be a way to try that out if we do drop the whole subframe, put the heat shields back on. But it looks like that would be key, is maybe just going ahead and doing the work. You know, it's just trying to get everything all steady and in the right position so that you could, you know, lower it little by little. The only thing you got to keep in mind is all these the hoses up front. Make sure that none of them are too tight, and it's gonna bend any of the hose. So, yeah, and also it looks like I did not have to actually loosen the rack as well, which is no big deal. It's 2 bolts, but then again, it's the first time. So, so yeah, I'm gonna keep plugging away. Now I can get to, looks like the rest of the header bolts. So, I just never thought we were gonna get to this point. Yes. There's the other one. We'll take the engine out, put some headers on. Headers will give us the biggest bang for the buck. All right, one header is loose. If this heat shield is in my way, I'm gonna cry. There you go. 6 hours later, one header out. Who says you need a week?
That's a success right there.
So for specialty tools, to be honest with you, there's really none that you really need. If you work on a BMWs, you already got to have a inverted Torx bit. So, but you're going to need long extensions and swivels. And the best thing, you will need an engine cradle or engine. I don't even know what that thing is called. Engine. Yeah, just call it an engine cradle. Sure. To hold the engine up while you drop the subframe down, but as you can see, I didn't drop it completely down. It's just enough to be able to get to the bolts. But lesson learned, next time I ever do this, and if I ever do, is just drop the subframe. It is so much more easier, and trust me, you'd save a lot of cuts and bruises on your hands. So all the headers are loose now. One header's out, and this one's about to come out. Yeah. Success. All right, now turn this light off. Now the fun part begins, is getting everything together and start installing the new headers. And this is, as I was letting go the last bolt, I realized that these 2 dropped. So usually when these 2 drop, or when you have these drop, that means the studs came with it. So this is going to be a pain in the butt trying to get your hand up there and hold this in place while you put the headers on. So most likely I'm going to have to take the nuts off and put the studs on and then go from there. So yeah, just going to do a little bit of pre-assembly, try to make sure we get everything all squared away, and then we'll start installing the headers. All right, guys, so got the one-piece exhaust manifold, the exhaust manifold gasket. So it'll be a little bit easier to install. I don't have individual ones, but here's the tubed headers, American Racing. Pretty excited to get these going. It will be much more easier to get these done than having to take the OEM ones off. So let's keep plugging away. We're going to do the driver's side first. So. Boom shakalaka. Houston, we have a problem.
Yeah, like a header almost blocks the bolt.
Yeah. The lower section, every runner blocks the stud.
Little tiny.
We'll just create it and you figure it out. They'll probably end up saying that. Oh, what do you mean you try to put the headers on with the engine in? No, you got to take it out.
Let's do the rod bearings at the same time.
Is it going to come out?
They're already out, man. I already put one in.
Oh, shoot. God, that looks like a terrible design.
Well,
The little spaghetti monster.
The thing is, with those, you have actual access to the bolts and studs. With these, you don't.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah, the top ones you do, the bottom ones, yeah, they just block it.
Yeah.
So now I gotta sit here, famine, lose a lot of weight, and be skin and bones to get my hand up
to
there.
order you some lunch? Is that what you need? Is that what you're saying?
Oh, it's just
You tell me what you want, and I'll get it.
No, he needs to lose weight.
yeah, lose weight. That's what it is. Skinny. Well, at this point, the runners block the studs or the bolts on the lower section of the headers. So we're going to have to tighten the top ones on both sides, the ones that we can get to easily. And we were told that you have to go and tighten the bottom section of the nuts and bolts from the top side. That's going to be a wrench, and it's going to be an eighth of a turn for each nut or bolt. So technically what I got to do is get those installed, get those tightened down, and technically kind of put up the subframe, and then go up to the top and try to do them, and hopefully it can be done, and then I can go back to the bottom of the subframe and bolt everything back in. So I'm just hoping that I don't have to drop the subframe again, but we'll see. First time doing it. There we go.
It's coming out.
No, it's just getting all where the motor mount went in. So, all right. So what I'm going to do now is just secure it up, put the motor mount, secure those, lower it, and see if we can get to the
Where's this grounding
the
strap?
other ones. The grounding strap goes right here on the block.
Oh, okay.
Yep, so I'll go ahead and do that, and here's the
Boom. Nice. Yeah, I see. So this, like Honda's, like if you don't, like the rear subframe, you lose alignment. You have to actually physically align it. Like there's a lot of play, but this doesn't have any play.
Yeah, this one, the ones in the rear is your camber on the trailing arm are bolted to the chassis. So once you drop that, you have to get it realigned. Wow, this thing was down quick. Let's hope I don't have to put that back on. So a wrench. All right. You twisted my arm. Trying to put a wrench. Oh, there you go. Oh, that ain't bad.
Oh yeah, that's what we like to hear. That's a good term.
Heck yeah.
Oh yeah, that's not bad. I got it.
Actually, it's not bad. Well, this side is not bad to do it from up here. That side is what I'm.
How many you got on that set? 3?
No, I only had to do 2. I gotta tighten the back one a little bit more because I had a shorty. So I was able to get all but 2 nuts from the bottom. So what it's going to be the 2 center ones for the 2-cylinder banks, and so you can get those easily from the top. The one in the further back is a little bit tougher, but it's easy to get it with just a regular wrench, not a gear wrench, but a regular wrench, and you can get the one on the driver's side. Now I'm about to tackle the passenger side, and not the same room as the other side, so we'll see how that pans out. But so far so good. Driver's side done. So
You don't have to redrop the subframe.
correct. So as we ended up doing earlier, we had to put the subframe up to get to the top, so we could lower the car down because of the jacks. So we were hoping that we could get it done here so that we don't have to jack it back up and have to drop the subframe again. But the subframe is up, just temporary. It's not completely tightened. So once I can get I only have 2 nuts, maybe 2 1/4 to tighten on this side because I was able to get the rest of them from underneath. So let's keep plugging away. All right, so big mammy jamma. I'll use this one. Oh yeah. So the only thing I got to do is still got to put the thing back on and put the spacers up top for the control motor mount. Boy, look at those headers. Oh boy. That's what I do. I always go back after it. And I learned the hard way one time.
Pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say that's pretty good. So we pretty much got the subframe all back together now. Already tightened up the steering rack, the actual knuckle for the steering rod itself. And just going in, trying to get everything else done. The next thing we're going to have to do on the up top, install these spacers on the motor mounts. And what'll be between the motor mount and the actual engine mount bracket. So we'll get that. What that does, it raises the engine up and raises the header up a little bit to give you more ground clearance. So everything under here right now looks pretty much almost done. The hard parts, we'll install the panels, the engine covers underneath here shortly. And then once we get that done here, we'll jump up to the top, install these two, and finish up the little odds and ends up there. So awesome. Thank goodness that we're going downhill now. Oh, so we have to notch those? Oh, okay.
The plate.
All right.
I want to Sharpie it. And
Yeah. Oh, sweet. I'm glad we...
I knew the guy was telling me I have to notch something. I thought he said the subframe. What he meant was the base plate.
So it looks like due to the headers being lower, we'll have to notch the engine cover underneath the tray. So we're going to go ahead and marquee that up, get a little slot, and we're just going to go ahead and cut that. Meanwhile, we'll go ahead and start installing the rest of the exhaust and little odds and ends around. So
Slide that little middle one in there. That'll hold it up. This little guy is pretty legit.
oh yeah.
Or we can use it full size.
Perfect.
Oh yeah, there we go. Needs a little extra clearance.
Yeah.
All right, so we got this cut. And now you can see, you need to notch that because the headers need a little extra clearance. Now we're working on the joints here. They're pretty tight. Sure looks logical, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Unless you're trying to make side exit exhaust.
Unless it goes, yeah. I think it's got to go that way.
Back piece.
I mean, I can't see any daylight. See any daylight on that one? I mean, we can indent that a little bit for the heat shield. I just wonder how crooked it gets down toward the end.
I don't think it's going to go all the way up in there. I would try to put, well, shoot, that's the thing. If you end up, because you're going to be, it's just going to be a pain if you've gone too far in.
Yep.
But you should be able to squeeze it out, though. I would try to put the rear on.
Yeah.
And then see how much more room you got.
Yeah. Push that heat shield out of the way there. Okay. Now, I'll put the resonators on. I'm just going with common sense here. Jeez. I don't like that. These resonators are like, I have to make sure I pull them apart.
Oh.
They're darn close together. Hopefully it pulls.
Well, when you
clamp.
put the other piece on, maybe it'll separate it.
The acu seals will pull it tight. away from each other, pull it flat and straight. Sure seems like this is pointing down the wrong way. It's like the X pipe backwards. So I got the X pipe in right, according to the picture. These definitely point up. But now the problem is these point up too, like this.
Yeah, because of the hangers. You gotta think of the hangers going on that side.
All right, but ooh, it's way short.
Yeah. All right, I think I got everything down here taken care of, minus this one bolt that's missing. That it either failed or ran away.
I think I lost it. So
it's
I
weird too
remembered,
that I found that one in here though. Or
I remembered me missing one on, and I think it's this car. I thought it was my GT3 though. Okay, so we're working from back to front to see if we can get this to fit. Okay, that's on.
there we go. Did it pinch you?
Close. Almost got me.
All right, so you got these tight.
Everything's loose.
All right, so technically we should be able to take it out from there, and it'll be able to slide from right out here.
Oh, from there.
Yeah, tighten these. Let's see if we can tighten these up a little bit. Keep them up there. There we go.
Oh, you got it.
Yep.
So those are different lengths, but that's correct.
Yeah.
So the O2 sensors definitely point up. Yeah, so the X pipe's going to dictate everything because the O2 sensors point up.
Yep.
According to the diagram from American Racing Headers.
So with this one being the longer section up there, it makes sense for it to be here, and the only one to be here. Not that that's going to throw us off.
Right, I have the longer.
Yep. On the short side
the
here.
Longer.
Resonator.
Yeah, as you can see, we're working on here. Just exhaust. This is the way it goes. You gotta adjust it.
So if we move this in a little more, I mean, right now everything seems to be, it's a little bit, when this tightens up, this will spread out like we did. Yeah, it'll pull out
Just want to make sure it's not touching up here. I like sunk tips as much as we can get. Or flush, you know, grown up style.
Yeah.
Especially since they're freaking shiny.
That's gonna bug me, man. Yours is more, oh no, it's off, it's about the same. This one's off a little bit more. How can we fix this?
Ooh, yeah, it's looking close.
All right, so I twisted this one down. As you can see, it faces down, so this goes up more. But I was able to get that more center. So if I did the same with yours, go to the other side.
Now we need to lock it down while holding it tight.
Oh. And that is your ratchet. So these are tight. So let's start from the front. That looks pretty good, man. I'm liking it.
Yes.
So we still got to do the motor mount. That's simple to do.
Oh.
You just got to lift it up and put the spacers in between and tighten it back down.
Okay. I'm done.
She almost looks like we didn't touch her. Minus one bolt that's missing that drives me nuts.
I'll order it tonight. I'm sitting on the couch.
You want good news or you want bad news?
What?
On both.
What's up?
Unless these is threaded, they're missing the nut.
It's threaded. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Never mind. Take them back.
That sleeve is threaded there. Yeah, that's pretty. It's pretty.
Yep.
I just did that last week. Buttoning things up here, putting the valve covers back on. So the intake back on. She's ready to fire it up.
Yep. So just going through, checking everything. I took the little cover off with the spark plug cover, which gave me a decent amount of access to those bolts back there. So.
Oh, the other thing I forgot to mention to everybody, we have a Alpine MSS tune that's specifically for the American Racing Header setup. catless. So we should be making some pretty decent power gains. So what we're talking about here is these spacers that we showed earlier. So these spacers here, these things are necessary to lift the motor mount so that the motor engine sits up a little bit higher so we have clearance on the heat shields. All right, so we got to pull the strut tower braces off in order to get the engine to loosen up here.
The plenum, is it, oh man.
What?
I really would not want to take it off. Let's see. This side is coming up pretty good.
Hard to see.
Dang it, I still got a ways to go. I wonder if I could tilt it with a pry bar. Great, probably need to take that cover back off again. Let me see if I can do it without it. Get the smaller, the next short one. Where's your pry bars at?
Sure we can't just take that darn heat shield off the steering knuckle and call it a day?
Well, I would love to. I just don't know what else it would end up interfering with. It's gotten up a little bit. I got the other side went up a lot. We'll lower the subframe a little bit, and that should give me enough room to be able to get that. Unfortunately. I want to hear this thing already.
I mean, does that, but see, look, does that going to affect the steering angle? Is it going to affect that there? You know what I'm saying? Like, is that motor mount spacer?
Yeah, by the time I put it on there, you got to think. If you look at it, it doesn't sit up. It's not up high enough, so you can't. Once you put that spacer in there, it's going to bring it up by a lot.
All right, so we took the bottom apart again, pulled the subframe down. And now one spacer's on. And I'm getting all the bolts out, so the pole jack's going to hold up the subframe. Let's see it moving down.
Bingo.
And we're in.
We are in.
And now we got to put it all back together.
Wait.
Lined up this time.
Yep. Let's see if I could twist that a little bit here.
And put all the bolts back in. It should be good. Now there's nuts that go on the top side. So motor mount is right here, right above this little bolt. And so there's threads or studs going up and down. And so the motor mount, what we're doing is we're taking on the top of the motor mount, we're taking and putting a washer on top. And so that'll allow the motor to sit just, what is that, like a 1/4 inch? A little less than a 1/4 inch.
About a 1/4 inch. Yep.
Yeah, so it's about a 1/4 inch spacer that causes the motor to sit on the spacer, so slightly taller, which gives a little more room for the steering rack and things for clearance for the headers, because the headers are quite a bit bulkier than the stock spaghetti version. And so what we had to do is the engine is lifted up on top, and then we drop the subframe down in order so that stud, so the motor mount, or the mount on the side of the motor lifts up past the stud so we can slide that spacer in and put it in place. We can't capture it on camera, but it's something you got to do, otherwise you're going to vibrate crazy.
So normally on the other cars, the 36 or E46, been able to lift it up high enough, but with the dyno intake and the intake on top, you only got so much clearance on the back cowl that you technically could hit. Well, you will, because we got it up as high as we could, but the supports for the strut tower
Yeah.
was going to hit the intake,
Yeah,
the carbon fiber intake. So I don't want to pay for that. I crack it. So, but it only took me maybe 10 minutes to drop it and put it back together. So not bad.
Yeah, but that 10 minutes at the end of the day feels like 3 hours.
I try not to think about it that way.
All right, just button everything up, put it back together. All right, so that's a wrap. I'm gonna start the car up here and drive down the block here for you, but install pretty straightforward. Obviously, I passed the buck to Eb to come and do that for me. Make sure to go check out his YouTube channel. We'll have a link in the description. Also, if you're an OG type and you're looking for an OG guy to help you do projects like this, he's started a business where he does this kind of stuff, with a focus on BMWs. But I'm really appreciative for him coming out and do this. It's certainly something that I think that if you can put an exhaust on, you could tackle this. But my guess is it probably would have taken me twice as long, at least, to do a project like this. Headers are always problematic, and if you don't have all the tricks, if you don't have a lot of experience tearing things apart like this, then you're going to have a really, really tough time getting this done. A couple of things to note where we're at right now. We got everything aligned. You saw that was a bit of a fight, so you got to have a little bit of expertise there. After I'd shut the camera off yesterday and I drove, just kind of coasted back and forth in the parking lot, we had pushed the heat shield out of the way, but it pushed it up into the drive shaft, and so there was a lot of noise there that sounded like something was really wrong, but all we had to do was just pull the heat shield off the drive shaft. The only thing left that's a bit problematic, I probably have to do a little bit more tweaking to the heat shield. It feels like there's a little bit still touching somewhere. I can hear it at high RPMs. But we're having, I'm pretty sure it's the spacer that we put on the motor mount. I'm pretty sure that when you transition weight, so let's say as I launch or take off, there's a click, and then when I brake, there's a click or clunk, and I'm pretty sure we did a good job of putting all the subframe bolts back on. So I think it may have something to do with those little spacers that help the engine sit up a little bit higher. But other than that, the sound, the tone is what I'm looking for. There's no drone at all, even with the rear section from ARH. I think that this does open up the possibility to try some other rear sections too over time, just using the ARH middle section. I didn't really get on the car too much because it was making that clunk. I wasn't sure what it was, so I didn't want to rip into the car last night. But it sounds like what I'm hoping. It does take the car from intake dominant to exhaust dominant, which does change the character quite a bit. Sliding down the hill here. but it's I think for for $5,000 for a full exhaust and headers, I think it's probably the right one. But we'll keep playing with it. We'll have more footage on it. I'll probably do a follow-up on this, just my take on it. We'll do some in-car footage and some exterior flybys and stuff like that. But I think I think it's, as soon as you can usually tell, as soon as I start a car up, I can usually tell if it's close. And it's very close to being exactly what I'm looking for. It's hard to define exactly what I'm looking for, but it's close to it. So anyway, thanks for watching this part of my experience with my E92 M3. I can't think of anything major that I have coming up other than maybe doing Dine & Stroker someday. But this was the kind of the refresh for me, and refreshing my enjoyment with the car, and just doing something a little bit different, getting it a little bit lower, a little more aggressive suspension, and now a more aggressive, throatier sounding exhaust. So anyway, thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more E92 stuff as it comes up. See you soon.